Intel shares rallied after reports emerged that rivals Broadcom and TSMC are eyeing potential bids for the chipmaker. Broadcom aims to acquire Intel's chip design services, while TSMC is interested in its manufacturing operations. The news comes amidst a challenging year for Intel, with stocks plummeting nearly 60%. Despite recent struggles, the company's stock saw over a 5% increase in pre-market trading, hinting at renewed investor interest. Will anything save Intel, bar some sort of discovery of an AI chip that can smash NVIDIA?
Yeah, I mean, I think Intel as a standalone is very doomed. They've been very far behind on the chip side. On the manufacturing side, they're also behind both on TSM and Samsung. I think this would be a great deal for TSM. One, they would give them more of a stronger foothold into the US, right? They've done that expansion in Arizona. This could actually offer them some type of subsidies or some type of money from the government to increase operations here locally. But I think a deal is probably likely going to happen. I think Intel has really struggled. You know, they shifted a few different executives, and I think right now, I think Broadcom is a great acquirer of those assets. Hot Tan has done an amazing job with acquisitions in the past. That company's done a great job, including those components. I think it would be a win-win for both of those companies, TSM and Broadcom, if it actually takes place.
Okay, maybe this is a dumb question, but I'll ask it anyway. When we talk about Broadcom and we talk about TSM standing for, of course, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, that's a company based in Taiwan. Wasn't the whole point of President Biden's real push over the past 4 years to bring manufacturing, to bring ownership of the semiconductor industry away from that region of the world, away from Asia Pacific, back to the United States, as well as that ownership as well, to make sure that China never got too much of a foothold, because chips will be needed in any potential conflict between the United States and China. And quite obviously, we don't want them being made predominantly in Taiwan. So what's the Taiwanese got to do with buying into Intel?
Yeah, well, so Taiwan Semi is by far the best manufacturer of semiconductors. They're number one. They're also an incredible ally to the United States and produce some of the most important chips across the largest companies that we have here. I really do think this is a positive for TSM, and even for the US. If they all of a sudden now get this US asset, they're going to expand here locally. You know, also remember, Taiwan is sort of in the crossroads with mainland China, right? Mainland China certainly looks at it as one China. Taiwan believes they're independent. At some point, we'll see what actually happens there. But TSM is by far the leader. I think this would actually be a great thing for the U.S. in terms of bringing some manufacturing here. But I mean, I think in terms of Intel and trying to expand by themselves, they're more doomed. So I think this is a good scenario, bringing manufacturing of semiconductors to the U.S. Yes, it's a Taiwanese company, but it's one of our big friends.
All right, but why would Broadcom want to get involved in a company which has lost 60% of market value? Because frankly, it's been so usurped and dominated by other chip makers. I mean, even Apple, that used to rely on Intel for chips for its Macs, is now building their own because they just didn't feel that Intel was able to keep up. Now you have a look at NVIDIA. I mean, once upon a time, it was all about Intel. Remember buying a PC in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it had the little Intel logo there? It was a company to be proud to be associated with. Now it's fallen behind. What does Broadcom, do you think, bring to the table? And why can't they do it alone? Why do they need Intel?
Yeah, those are all very good questions, Aaron. So Broadcom's done a great job buying a whole bunch of companies over the last decade. And when you look at the major merger between Avago and Broadcom, that was maybe 6-7 years ago now. That combined company can take those, I think, better things that it could do by themselves. There's also, even though Intel's struggled quite a bit over the last several years, they still sell a tremendous amount of components. And on the semiconductor side, it's not just the processor. There's the programmable logic that they have that I think Broadcom's very interested in. I think it also comes down to the price, right? What price are they willing to sell it for? I mean, the company has been, down and to the right. It has not performed well. So maybe Broadcom also is looking at the price tag and saying, you know what, we can scoop this up at a great price and we can still make this profitable for our operations.